Hello friends, it's the Rocky Mountain Crafter here. Thank you so much for joining me today. The stamp set and dies that I have in my hands here are called Natural Flourishes by Catherine Pooler. And today I'm going to show you how to make a stencil with your dies. Now these work really good with leaf dies and flower dies. And we will start by taking a piece of cardstock, and in the middle of that piece of cardstock, cut your die out that you want to use. Now you want to have quite a bit of edge around your piece of cardstock because this essentially in the end is going to act as a stencil. And so now that I have that cut out, I'm picking a selection of colors, and the colors that I've chosen today are It's a Girl, which is a light pink, Sparkling Berry, a darker pink, Lemongrass, which is a yellow, Orange Peel, an orange, Mint to Be, which is a light mint color, and Mardi Gras, which is a variation of the mint. It's got some mint in it, but it's just a darker hue, kind of aquamarine, really. Aquatini. There's very, very green to it. It's not teal. Teal's more blue. So this is the selection of colors that I'm using today. And I'm going to be putting this down like a stencil onto this piece of paper. So now I can take that stencil piece and start taping it to the piece of cardstock that I'm going to use for the card front of my card. So just with some low tack tape, I am taping down onto some scrap paper because I need something around the edges of this because it will go slightly off the edge in some areas and I don't want to get my mat dirty. And so just taking some low tack tape and taping that down. And once I have my card front all in place, then I can take that stencil piece that I've made with my die cut and I can put that down onto the card front and start blending with a blending brush in the lightest color of pink. And I just go around this leaf die cut until I'm happy with the color of pink. Each time I start a new leaf, I am turning that die cut piece a little bit, the stencil piece, I guess, a little bit, so that I'm getting a different layout of that leaf so that it's not looking too uniform on this card front. So there I had gone in with the darker color of pink. And now here I'm going into the orange peel. And then in the middle of this piece, I'm going in with lemongrass. And at the bottom, I go in with the Mint to Be. Or actually, that's Mardi Gras on that bottom leaf. And then here on this other leaf, I'm going in with just Mint to Be, a nice lighter tone of green on this whole leaf. But then I go back afterwards and just to give it that real stenciled feel, I touch up the top of that leaf with some of the pink and I touch up some of this leaf here with some of the orange, just to give it that real gradient feel to the overall front of this card. And the blending here of these colors is just so gorgeous that you could totally make this your card front, just slap a sentiment on it and be done. But we can step it up a bit with the detailed image of this leaf. And that's what I'm going to do. So with Versamark, I stamp this, and on each of those leaves, I just line it up best that I can and stamp it in Versamark. And although this technique does work really great with foliage and with flowers, there are other images that work really well also. And those would be hearts with a detailed stamp. You could do balloons with a detailed stamp. You could do things like kites with a detailed stamp. There are so many different ideas that you could put onto this, make your own stencil. And so I hope you guys really do try to give that a whirl and see how you make out. Now that the detailed image of the leaves is on there with Versamark, I can emboss with Wow Clear Sparkle embossing powder. And it doesn't have to be clear sparkle. You could pick gold or silver, even black would be beautiful. And if you have any powder on there that doesn't belong in some spots, you can just take a small paintbrush and dust it off. And then using our heat tool, we can go in and heat that up and get it melted on there. And it leaves that beautiful shine and sparkle on top of all of those leaves. Look at how gorgeous that is coming. It's just beautiful. And so now I'm going to let that embossing powder dry, and I'm going to think about the sentiment that I want to use. So this stamp set is called Moments in Time Sentiment Stamp Set, and it has matching dies. The dies fit around the large words time, moments, and occasions. And this stamp set plus the leaf, the foliage set that I used, those both came in the At Home release by Catherine Pooler, which was just released maybe a month ago. And just all the products coordinate beautifully together. And so I'm just going to take a look at the stamp set. I know I want to use it, but I'm not quite sure how yet. So I'm just figuring that out, and we will get started doing that. I have chosen the words thankful for our time together, and I'm going to be heat embossing the word time and stamping the thankful for our and together in different colors to match with the card. So here I'm just doing the stamping, but what I realize after I've done it in the green and the pink, I realize a couple of things: that I want some orange in there, and also that I should have done them backwards. I should have done the thankful in the green, or the pink, sorry, and the together in the green. Anyways, in the end, I do get it worked out the way I want it. So here I'm coming in with some Wow Gold embossing powder. And I do rate the names of my embossing powders on the top of the lids because I keep them in a shelf behind me. And that way I can just at a glance pick the one that I want without having to root through all of them. So I hope that that's a time-saving tip for you guys if you store your embossing powders the same way. So now that I have that embossed in gold, just going in with the heat tool here and going to heat that up. And again, let your embossing powder cool after you've put the heat tool to it. Sometimes it will smudge if you don't, and then you have to end up doing it over again. Ask me how I know. I learned that one the hard way. And so I'm going in with the matching sentiment to the word time and just going to die cut that out. It's real easy to break away these dies just by bending them together like that. I'm using the Sizzix Sidekick, which is a small die cut machine, and it's right on my desktop, and I'm going to use that to cut out that time die. And look at that beautiful sentiment. Then I take some pop dots and I pop it up, and I'm going to place it into the blank spot of the card where I think it looks good. And once that sentiment is in a spot that I'm happy with, I move on to cutting out the other words for the sentiment. And those are thankful for our together. So as I told you, I felt like I did these in the wrong color. So you can see I had originally done it in the green there. And now I'm cutting out the pink one that I redid. And so what was important to me to show you guys is that a long pair of scissors is your friend in your craft room. So I don't even bother taking this to a trimmer. I just do it with my long pair of scissors. With a long pair of scissors, you can get a straight cut. As long as you're lining up that edge with the top and the bottom of the words, you're pretty safe to have a straight cut, and it just saves a lot of time in your craft room. And for the words there, thankful for are, I go back and I do the words for are in orange. So here I'm just showing you again how I'm getting straight cuts with these words. But in the end, you will see that the words for are in orange. And I'm just using some pop dots to pop the other words of the sentiment up and getting the placement that I like. I kind of wanted to fill in some of those blank white spaces. And then I decided to do the thankful in a step. So it's a step from right to left. I thought that looked really good with this particular card. Now it's time to cut off some of the edges and put it onto a card base. A lot of the cards that I make are not your standard size. I do something like this where I just am eyeing out a design that I want to use, and it doesn't necessarily fit onto a standard card size. So I create my own bases. Now here I have a piece of Neenah Classic Crest Solar White cardstock, It's just a very nice thick cardstock, and it makes for beautiful card bases. And I start by figuring out what layout of the piece of 8.5 by 11 I want to use. There I was thinking maybe I wanted to use a die, another die for the background, but then I decided I was just going to just do it straight onto the card base. Off camera, I have taken it over to my trimmer and the card base that is, and I have cut it to a width, well, I guess a length of the card front that is 1/4 of an inch larger on all 4 sides than the card front. But now what I need to do is put a fold into this card so that it matches with the other 3 sides. So this is my all-in-one tool by We Are Memory Keepers. And it's really easy just to line this up and to be able to put that perfect score line in there, absolutely perfect. And then to be able to make this card base the perfect size for this card front, which is not your normal standard sized card front. And I do these all the time. Now, once you get the hang of the all-in-one tool, and I mean, it's not a huge learning curve, it makes sense how it works, then you can make your own anomaly-sized card bases whenever you want to, and it's not hardly any work at all. And there I'm just trimming off the extra piece of that card base with my mini trimmer by We Are Memory Keepers. And then I just pop the whole thing up onto some foam tape, and that is the card done. And it just was so quick and so easy. This came together really, really quickly. I thank you guys for watching. I am the Rocky Mountain Crafter. I do hope that you enjoyed this video today. You can find me at therockymountainCrafter.com, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. Take care and have a wonderful day.